So the moment that you've been waiting for has arrived and we're ready to integrate the breathing. Follow the steps and enjoy the journey. So a lot of people find breathing difficult in front crawl. They feel that in breaststroke they can swim as much as they like, they never get out of breath, and they wonder why is it in front crawl it seems to be so much more effort. Now, in my opinion, it's for a number of reasons. In front crawl, the mouth is much closer to the surface of the water than it is in breaststroke. So if you mistime the breathing, you're much more likely to get into difficulty. Second reason that people get out of breath often in front crawl is they breathe in too much. They overestimate the amount of air that they need in, so when they turn to breathe, they suck the air in through the mouth or the nose, and it's much better if you can just allow the air to come in, and that's what people tend to do more like in breaststroke. So breathing too actively is the second problem. The third problem is that people tend to forget the right body position. So if we rotate to our side, as we learnt in the early principles about why we rotate, there's much more room to breathe. If we don't rotate enough, there's not enough space to breathe. So by turning our body to the side, we can allow the weight of the head to remain in the water, and there's more time and more space to breathe. The moment that you don't rotate enough, you'll tend to lift your head up a little bit too much, which will push your hips down and make it more difficult. So following the stages of stage 1, which is learning on the rotation, stage 2, which was coordinating the arm action, the more that you can work on these 2 preliminary stages, the easier the breathing will be. But if you don't have enough rotation and you don't have the right timing of the arms, the breathing's always going to be a little bit too difficult. So going back to basics is the key. And the beauty of practicing on land is you're never going to get a nose or mouth full of water. It's always going to be easy to breathe. You're never going to swallow the water, and you can keep practicing. And ideally, we breathe on both sides. If you only breathe on one side, it's like doing yoga and only turning the way that you like to turn. The objective in breathing in the front crawl is to breathe with the weight of the head still in the water, with the body rotated and with the arms open. Have a sense of pressing the head forward and down rather than lifting it up. So the key to breathing well is to have the right body orientation and have plenty of space to breathe, and to get this feeling of actually leaning into the water rather than carrying ourselves out. Now the way that we're going to learn this third lesson on the breathing is we're going to break it down into separate parts. The first part, we're going to be dealing with the transition between putting the face into the water and bringing the face out of the water. And we're going to learn to do that in a flowing way. Once we've established that, we'll move into how to bring the face back into the water, so how to make the transition between the air and the water, so how to come in and then how to bring the body back without losing the directional arm, using the directional arm to support and balance you. Here we're going to break down the movement pattern into various steps in order to breathe in an effortless way. I'm going to demonstrate a step. Start with both hands forward. I step forward with my directional hand, which is going to be my left. I look over, hold the water in a steady phase, and I turn to breathe. Between the arm coming out of the water and the arm coming up. So the head is turned, the air is coming in as the arm is coming up. That's my window to breathe. If I bend the arm earlier, I have less space, less time to breathe. If I take my arm back, turn it over, this is my window to breathe in. So what I'm basically doing is I'm leaning on my directional arm. My arm is going forward into the handshake position. I turn to breathe in. And the key. Drive the head forward, open to breathe in. When it works well, it really feels that the movement is breathing you. The more you lengthen and widen the back, the more space and time you'll feel that you've got to breathe. And remember, never take a breath, just allow the air to come in. Movement, this hand. Second movement, the head. Third movement, the arm. So ready? Okay, go. Turn. Yes. And again. So here. Turn the hand and look away. Yes. And the more that this directional hand can lengthen, the more space that you're going to have to breathe. You open across your back. Yeah? So the movement breathes you. The more you open across your back and the chest, the easier the air comes in. If your hand is this way, it's harder to breathe. If you're this way, it's easier to breathe. You feel it? Many people find adjusting the positioning of the head really helpful in it being able to breathe more effectively in front crawl. By glancing forward on the rotation before you rotate to breathe, it helps you turn without the need to lift. When we breathe on the third stroke, it's really important to get the idea of the eye directions. So in the first stroke, I'm looking forward, if I'm standing. The second stroke, I'm bringing my eye level a little bit up, closer to the surface of the water. And the third movement, I'm turning the head with the body. So I'm going to demonstrate without the arms first of rotation. 1, looking forward, slightly down. Rotation 2, looking forward, slightly up. Rotation 3, first rotation, second rotation, third rotation. Yes. Good. Forward. A little bit up, turn to breathe. Forward, little bit up, turn to breathe. Rotate to the right, rotate to the left, turn over, good. Turn, forward, and breathe. The next stage is, having breathed in with an open lungs and an open back, we're going to learn how to move back into the water in a controlled way. There's a simple way of doing it which requires you to control the movement from the directional arm. When we're moving back, we've got the same sequence. The first thing that needs to turn is the front hand. The second thing that needs to turn is the head. The third thing that needs to turn is the arm comes over. So what you don't want to do is drop that arm, which is a common mistake. And I'm going to incorporate the turning out and the turning in. So, rotation 1, rotation 2, rotation 3, and back. So, having turned to breathe, I turn the hand, and then I turn my head, and then I bring the other hand back. I'm going to turn to breathe on my left side, and I'm going to incorporate the turning out and the turning in. So, rotation 1, rotation 2, rotation 3, and back. So the most important thing is that we never take a breath. We allow the air to come in. Second thing, get the sequence right. So the right hand, the directional hand, must always move into a handshake. The next point, the head needs to turn into the water, not away from the water. It's as if you're pressing the head into the water, you're pushing the water away from your mouth. The third thing, open up to create the space to breathe. rather than contracting. And then once the air's come in, instead of rushing the movement, turn the directional hand in, change the position of the body, put the head in the water, and then bring your arm over so you don't drop the lead arm. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, breathe. Slow pace. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, stop. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2. So you're breathing out on the first, out on the second, in on the third. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, breathe. Easy, easy, breathe. Easy, easy, breathe. Easy, easy, breathe. Easy, easy, breathe. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Easy, easy, breathe. Easy, easy, breathe. Easy, easy, breathe. Let's go. 1, 2, left. 1, 2, right. 1, 2, left. 1, 2, right. 1, 2, left. 1, 2, right. You got it. Let's do it together now, okay? 1, 2, right. Again. 1, 2, left. 1, 2, right. Perfect. 1, 2, left. 1, 2, right. 1, 2, left. 1, 2, right. 1, 2, left. 1, 2, right. Yay! So if you've had fun over the last few days exploring the various lessons covering the front crawl, I'm sure like me, you're really keen to take to the open water.